Chapter 1. Oh hell no. You can't read a book at a bar, Romy. Talia's words startle me, and I knock my book off the table as I turn to look at her and Anna, while Talia's pale rose hair, septum-piercing tattoos, and tough New Yorker attitude might intimidate some, they didn't work on me. Glaring, I pick up my copy of The Vampire's Mail-Order Bride from the floor. A Valkyrie. If there is any alcohol on this, you owe me a new one, I say. And for your information, I wasn't going to read it much. I just needed to get some good pictures for my Insta. I position my book at the perfect angle for a quick photo on the low drink table in front of our couch. Oh sweet baby Jesus, Romy. Did I just see the words Mail Order Bride on the cover? What are you even reading? Anna groans before covering her face as though that will contain her embarrassment. I narrow my eyes and point to my chest before speaking to her like she's a small child. Romy reads romance, I say, pointing at myself. Don't act like you whores aren't aware that's my Insta handle. Talia snorts and I roll my eyes at both of them. I met you assholes at freshman orientation. You think that you would be used to my weird book shit by now. And to answer your original question, it's about a vampire who orders a bride by mail in order to appease his grandmother. It's really good. You can totally borrow it. I change angles to get a new shot, and Talia arches her perfectly sculpted brow at me. So you're being crazier than normal. That's fun, but how about you tell us why your book nerdiness is on full display tonight? My nerdiness is completely camouflaged, I argue. Does your average bookworm wear 3-inch heels? And you look damn hot in them, Talia agrees. What Talia means to say is that you seem stressed, Anna says. We just want you to know that we're here for you, girl, even if it's just to hold that book right there at a perfect 90-degree angle. Right. Anna levels a pointed look at Talia, who grins. Right. Anna's kind blue eyes hold no judgment as she tucks a lock of her long blonde hair behind her ear, and I smile at her peacekeeping attempts. Her Tennessee is showing again. She's far too southern to allow us to argue in public. Thanks, I tell them. Actually, I do have something on my mind. Talia leans in. I knew it. Spill. Professor Higgins assigned a project that starts today and runs through the end of the year. Already? Professor Hottishore knows how to start the year off as a buzzkill. My biz accounting professor just wants us to do a PowerPoint every 3 seconds. I snort, and Anna rolls her eyes before dragging my attention back to her. What are your requirements? Is there anything we can do to help? We have to increase our social media following by 15% by the end of the year. 15%? Talia repeats. That's. She pauses, doing the math in her head. Another 20,000, Anna chimes in, frowning. That's a lot. You're telling me. Took me years to get to where I am now. Not only that. He expects a presentation describing how we accomplished it, and how we plan to continue to grow our brand after graduation. The thought of graduation brings on a flood of emotion. I love attending the university where my parents met, but it also reminds me daily of what I lost. You guys know how hard I've had to work to gain my followers back after Mom and Dad passed. I truly love what I do, but I'm not sure I can make that big of a push. Talia and Anna wear matching masks of sympathy, and I can tell that they're thinking of the girl I'd been freshman year. Broken. Lonely. Worst of all. Orphaned. You have to prioritize your healing, Anna says gently, as if 3 years of finding my way back from the darkness wasn't enough. Are you worried about your scholarship? Talia asks, cutting right to the heart of things as usual. Because your academic probation ended 2 years ago, and your grades have been fine ever since sophomore year. You got this. It's not just about keeping my grades up for my scholarship, though. Social media is my income, I say. I can't afford to fail this project. Not if I want to be a successful influencer. Anna and Talia exchange a look. I turn away, pretending not to see, and catch sight of the cute bartender manning the bar behind us. I take notice of the length of his long brown hair, strong jawline, and panty-wetting chin stubble. I instantly deem him book boyfriend material and wonder if I can get him to take a picture with me for my feed. P.S. That bartender is totally a werewolf, I say, nodding my head toward said bartender as he tosses a bar rag over his shoulder and shakes a drink. The play of his forearm muscles mesmerizes me. Man, I have got to get me one of those, I say. You're seriously considering datin' finally? Oh, my great Aunt Betsy. That's so exciting, Anna says. What? Oh. I laugh. I don't mean a boyfriend. A werewolf. I have got to get me a werewolf. Just look at him. He's delicious. I sigh while propping my chin on the back of the couch so I can stare at him properly. Hey, Cocoa Puffs, Talia says without glancing up from her phone. You do know that werewolves aren't real, right? I mean, if I'm going to have to visit you every other Saturday at the loony bin, I need to know now so I can allow time in my schedule. Funny. I force my attention away from Hottie. Look, I don't have time for dating, okay? Even without my crazy final assignment, I have to focus. It's okay to take a break sometimes, Anna says. I take breaks. Talia snorts. Look, you guys know I love books. I even love being an influencer, but I'm not going to be able to do it forever. Nobody is going to want to see me in my underwear and long socks, holding my favorite books when I'm 40. I need to build a name for myself in the book community. If I do everything right, eventually I'll transition to repping books for film and TV or maybe work for a publishing house. Honey, you can do anything you set your mind to. Anna pats my arm. I shake off my heavy thoughts and give them my best reassuring grin. Graduation is still months away. I know I'll think of something, but thanks for volunteering to be my book bitches. Hey now, I don't recall saying all that, Anna says with a laugh. Okay, enough of all this. Too much adult talk. Let's get sloppy, Talia shouts, turning to wave to the bartender. I think I heard the word sloppy screamed in my direction, a deep voice says. I turn to find my werewolf bartender standing behind me. My name's Travis. How can I make that happen for you ladies? He asks with a smirk. Talia and Anna place their orders, and then Travis' warm chocolatey eyes are trained on me. What about you, gorgeous? I'll take a church, no ice. But before you go, would you mind snapping a picture with me? My followers would love you. I say before I can change my mind. Anna turns pink and Talia chuckles. That depends. Do you ask all of your bartenders to pose with you? He asks, raising his brow. Only the ones who look like sexy werewolves, I answer earnestly, making the sign of the cross over my heart. He throws his head back and laughs a deep belly laugh before tossing his arm over my shoulder and motioning for me to take a selfie. I snap a few of us together, and he humors me further by doing a couple of different poses before heading back to make our drinks. I flip through the pics on my phone, noting how the lighting has made my freckles more pronounced. I've never exactly hated my features, but the smattering of dots across the bridge of my nose and tops of my cheeks has always been a thorn in my side. I was, however, gifted with well-behaved hair. And tonight my long ginger locks are rocking that perfect beach wave. My new favorite bartender, however, looks flawless. My followers are going to eat him. Oh, damn girl. Look at you working that sexy bookworm thing. Make sure you ask him if he has a safe word. Everybody knows that werewolves like it a little rough, Talia says while pantomiming spanking. You girls could make a preacher cuss, Anna mumbles, and I notice the tips of her ears starting to turn pink too. I've got a final project due, and sexy Travis over there is going to help me score an A. I say with a shrug before swiping through my pictures. I pause on a black and white shot of my laptop. It's boys and books are better sticker on full display, and smile before continuing my perusal. I'm surprised to see how many keepers I have from tonight. Ladies, I come bearing libations, Travis says before handing Talia then Anna their drinks. When he turns to hand me mine, he slides an extra napkin my way. Just in case you want to tag me or something, he says with a wink. It's on the house, ladies, he adds before heading back to the bar. Talia whistles. Cheers to that. I smile and reach for the napkin, surprised to see his name, phone number, and social media handle scribbled messily across the front. I slip it into my bag and lift my drink as Talia shouts, to bookworms. I clink glasses with them both, adding, to werewolves. 2 drinks later, I'm a little dizzy and a lot exhausted. Between school stress and work stuff, my head has begun to pulse to the beat of Meet Virginia. That's blaring through the speakers. Anna and Talia are not so inclined to end the night. We should head over to Club Majestic, Talia says. I want to dance off these drink carbs. Guys, seriously. I have a million things to do before bed, I say. Talia shakes her head. Anna and I worked her dessert truck until midnight. Last night, I had powdered sugar in unmentionable areas and still got up early. Enough to make it to the sorority meeting before our morning class today. That small reminder has guilt bubbling up inside me. Talia and Anna have given up a lot for me, including leaving their sorority house and moving into my apartment halfway through freshman year so I wouldn't be alone. Listen. I hold up my hands. In a competition of badassery you win, Tal. Talia smirks. You're not tired. You just don't want to people anymore. Admit it, she demands, tossing back the rest of her drink. Fine. I'm lame and would rather read a book than hang out at a bar. Are you happy? Her mean girl facade crumbles, and she snorts at my honesty. Whatever, nerd. Go home before midnight, but you're responsible for buying the supplies for our next midnight kisses. I hold up what I think is a Girl Scout symbol. Done. I love you guys and I'll see you at home, okay? I hug them both before they can change their minds. Be careful, Anna says. I hate it when you walk around by yourself at night. She frowns with worry, and I smile at her concern before assuring them. I'll be vigilant. I push my way through the too small bar and breathe a sigh of relief as I step outside into the blissfully cool autumn air. My skin is overheated from the alcohol and crowded bodies. The slight breeze feels like heaven to my skin. Valkyrie is in an area of reverence known as Bricktown because all of the streets are paved with, you guessed it, bricks. As I concentrate on walking and not getting a heel caught in the cracks, I curse the idiot who thought paving a road frequented by drunk college students with uneven bricks was a good idea. It doesn't help that Valkyrie is one of the oldest bars set at the farthest end of a narrow street off the main road. This time of night the alley is deserted. Everyone who's out is already tucked inside the bar until closing. Fine. You want a name? It was me. I jump at the raised voice and almost lose my footing thanks to the impractical road. I look around trying to find the man who yelled. A drunk frat guy, maybe? Wouldn't be the first time. In that case, allow me to personally congratulate you and dole out your retribution accordingly. I creep closer, swearing under my breath when my heel gets caught between two uneven bricks. I bend down and slip off the sparkly gold shoes, determined to pry it free without breaking the heel. A low growl echoes from nearby, and I jerk up in surprise. The heel snaps off my shoe, and I curse the drunken idiots whose brawl just cost me my favorite heels. The low growl echoes again from nearby. It sounds absolutely feral, and I shiver as I peer into the alley. On my left, for some sign of a four-legged animal. The streetlight only illuminates a few feet into the alley before the darkness swallows the light, making it impossible for me to make out anything clearly. I think of the two drunk idiots I've overheard and dig through my purse before. I remember I left the mace at home to make space for my books. Cursing myself, I grab my phone instead. I have no intention of being that heroine every reader yells, "Look behind you, idiot!" at. Quick swipe turns on the flashlight feature. With the narrow beam aimed forward, I let my thumb hover over the emergency call button. I toss my broken heel into the bottom of my bag, keeping the good one out in case I need a weapon. Hey guys, I call into the darkness. I'm pretty sure there's a dog on the loose, so you guys should probably measure your dick some other time and just go back inside before you get rabies or something. No one answers me. I inch forward, shining the flashlight on the way ahead. On a hunch that I can't even explain, I hit the button to start recording and then point the camera toward the alley. The moment I hit record, the flashlight flickers off. Damn. It's one or the other. I've made my choice. My eyes trained on the screen, I watch as the scene ahead comes into view. The moment it comes into focus on the small screen, the haze of alcohol leaves my mind in an instant. I realize with absolute certainty that I've made a mistake, because the guys are obviously long gone. At the end of the alley are two of the biggest dogs I've ever seen. A brown one lies pinned to the ground by a monstrous black dog, its massive jaws clenched around its victim's neck. In a moment of panic, I throw my shoe at it. Hey, get, bad dog. I yell as my heel bounces harmlessly off the black dog's rear before landing nearby with a pathetic clatter. The black dog abandons its kill and stalks towards me. Shit. Nice, Romy. You just annoyed the thing. And now you're weaponless. My gaze shifts to the dead dog behind it. But it's not a dog anymore. A scream lodges in my throat as my brain tries to compute what my eyes are telling it. The naked body is still and lifeless. All except for the steady stream of blood still leaking from his torn throat. Holy shit. My phone slips from my limp hands and clatters to the bricks at my feet. Turn and run, only looking over my shoulder once I've reached the street. My jaw falls open and I skid to a stop, my bag falling down my arm and spilling some of its contents onto the road. The giant dog is gone. Vanished. In its place, in the middle of the alley, stands the sexiest man I've ever seen, completely naked and dripping in blood. He starts toward me, then stiffens suddenly and stops. The violent look is gone, replaced by an intensity one can feel low in my belly. He opens his mouth like he might speak, but then quickly shuts it again, his interest turning to confusion. Behind him, the bloody human corpse remains a very dead man. Every sane and rational thought slides out of my mind as I struggle to compute. What just happened? There was a dog. Then it was gone. No. That isn't right. There were two dogs. Now the dogs are both dudes. One of them is dead. The other is staring me down like I'm next. Shifters. Holy. Werewolves are real. And this one looks ready to eat me. Rather than wait around for my turn to come, I turn and run like my life depends on it, since apparently it actually does. Chapter 2. Anna and Talia are already waiting in our usual booth when I stumble into hallowed grounds. The wet weather hasn't helped my trembling, but then neither did witnessing a murder 8 hours ago. It's been a hellacious night and is shaping up to be an even worse day. The only bright spot is the extra coffee I see waiting on the table when I walk up, saving me from having to stand in the ridiculously long line. We ordered for ya, Anna says distractedly, not even looking at me as she scoots over to let me slide in beside her. It's scary. I keep telling y'all it's not safe to be walking around by yourselves at night, Anna says, picking up a conversation they were obviously having before I got here. We all carry mace and we took those self-defense classes freshman year. Don't know why you're acting like we aren't careful, Talia states firmly. I suppose you're right, Anna sighs. I just hope they find her soon, she says, glancing down at a flyer on the table in front of her. Not just a flyer, I realize when I spot the face of a beautiful redhead staring back at me with the word missing printed in bright red over her photo. A missing persons poster. I skim the information below her picture with a pang of sadness for her family and friends before sinking back into my own heavy thoughts. My mind is still too muddled for the rest of the world's troubles. The murdered wolf starred in every one of my dreams last night. And beside him, the killer. A smoking hot psycho werewolf. A face I see every time I close my eyes now. Werewolves are real. Why doesn't that freak me out as much as it excites me? Holy hellfire, Talia says, looking up at me for the first time as I settle in across from her. What happened to you? Anna's eyes widen at my appearance before turning sympathetic. Oh honey, are you sick? She asks, reaching out to pat my face. I shake my head. Hungover, Talia guesses. No, My voice breaks and I reach for the coffee, feeling its warmth seep into my skin as I struggle to get myself under control. I saw something last night on my way home from Valkyrie. If it was two idiots going at it, I don't want to hear the details. I saw that last week and am already emotionally scarred by the peep show. I mean, who the hell thinks the top of a dumpster is a good place to get busy? Talia stops long enough to take a big gulp of her coffee. It wasn't that, I assure them. What did you see? Anna asks. Look, before I tell you, just promise that you'll keep an open mind, okay? Anna pats my arm. Of course, sweetie. We're always here for ya, you know. That. Now what's got you looking so blue? I force the words out in a rush before I can lose my nerve. Last night I saw a werewolf. Silence. Both girls blink at me before raising a quizzical brow to each other. In what movie? Talia asks. Did you fall asleep watching Twilight again? Anna asks. Oh honey, you know what Jacob does to ya. I shake my head. I didn't see it in a movie. This was real life. They exchange another look before bursting into laughter, and I grip the handle of my mug tightly to keep from losing my cool. Now that I've said the words out loud, I'm more sure than ever that it was all real. I really witnessed a murder and the existence of monsters all in one night. Okay, Anna says finally, drawing out the word when she sees I'm not laughing with them. Did this werewolf say anything specific or just howl at the moon? Talia asks, wiping the tears from her eyes. No, not to me anyway. I lean in and drop my voice to a harsh whisper. He was too busy killing another werewolf. Oh, so there are two werewolves now. Talia frowns. Not anymore. One's dead. Right. Of course. Talia nods and I narrow my eyes. I'm not lying. I saw it. Listen, Romy, you had a few drinks last night, Anna says gently. Is it possible you mistook what you saw for what you wanted to see? We all know how much you love your paranormal romance. You think I wanted to see a guy get his throat ripped out? I ask angrily. Anna leans away in surprise at my tone. Talia thrums her hand on the table. Her expression is solemn. Not like she's taking me seriously. More like she's taking seriously the challenge of proving me insane. What do the police say? She asks. Shit. I knew she would ask that. Nothing, I begrudgingly admit. I've been up all night scrolling local news feeds, but there's not a single reporting on a murder in Bricktown last night. Or anywhere in Cambridge. So you didn't call and report it yourself? No, I was too busy running for my life. That and he knows my face. I'm not stupid enough to rat him out when he knows what I look like. The girls exchange another look, and my patience snaps. Guys, I am not making this up. I wasn't drunk and I saw what I saw. Werewolves are real. You have to believe me. Oh honey, it's not that we don't believe you, Anna says. It's that you sound insane, Talia adds, and Anna glares at her. What she means, Anna says, is that your story sounds so much like the opening scene of Dirty Blood. Remember that paranormal romance you made me read last month where a dead body in an alley turns into a werewolf? You demanded I read the series so I could weigh in on whether I was Team Alex or Team Wes. Remember? Are you sure you didn't just read this scene before bed instead of witness in it? Sometimes our dreams can seem so real. Yeah, remember last week when Anna was pissed at me because she dreamed I threw away her hideous sweater? Talia adds. That sweater is adorable and was a gift from my grandmama. Thank you very much. It wasn't a dream, I say before they can continue arguing, but I can see in their eyes that neither of them believes me. Ugh. I lean back against the cushion and think of my lost phone. If I hadn't dropped it, maybe I would have all the proof I need. But all chance of that idea vanished the moment I'd left behind. You know what? It's fine. I'm going to catch up with you two later. I take a last gulp of my coffee and slide to my feet. Where are you going? Anna asks. I have class. I wave and then hurry out before either one notices its way. Too early for my first class. Outside, the autumn sun has begun to break through the gloomy cloud cover, but it doesn't do much for the chill prickling my skin. Leaves rustle as they fall, coating the campus in a brilliant array of reds and yellows. Outside, I turn toward Bricktown, toward Valkyrie. There's a chance my phone is still where I dropped it. I at least have to look. I hurry around the blind corner and slam into someone. Ugh. The collision with the hard body sends me careening towards the ground, but an arm slips around my waist, pinning me to a firm chest and steadying me. A zing tingles its way through my body and I glance up. My mouth falls open and I wrench myself away as I take in the sexiest murderer I've ever seen. Sexiest? What? No, I meant scariest. Seeing him in broad daylight makes me question what I thought I saw last night. My mind can't seem to equate the vicious, bloody man from the previous evening with the clean, gorgeous specimen standing before me. But even with the grainy half-light of the alley last night, I know it's him. I stare as he lets me go, then crosses his arms over his chest. His muscles flex with the movement, straining against the fabric of his white t-shirt. The messy waves of his long dark brown hair are streaked with caramel highlights. His jaw is all sharp angles and covered in dark scruff. Sexy. Very murderous looking. In fact, nothing about him is the same as last night. Until my perusal reaches his eyes. The stormy blue depths that have been haunting me since the last time I saw them are exactly as I remember them. Haunting. And once again gleaming with interest. In the back of my mind, I wonder if there's something wrong with me for checking out a violent killer, but I quickly shove that thought away. I've been reading about werewolves since I was in high school. Of course I'm intrigued by him, but those books taught me one very important thing. Every story has a hero and a villain. And right now, every sign points to him being the latter. Hello again, he says in a rich, deep voice that thrums along my senses. Are you here to kill me? I slap a hand over my mouth in an attempt to silence myself. What? He grabs my arm and drags me underneath the awning of an unopened business. I blink up at him in shock as he lazily takes a sip from a disposable cup. I Hadn't noticed before. My gaze zeroes in on the Hallowed Grounds logo and my eyes narrow. Are you stalking me? I demand. A man pauses to frown at us before continuing past. When the stranger turns to side-eye the pedestrian, I seize the opportunity and bring my knee up aimed straight for his balls. Just before I can land it, he twists away so that I miss and nearly tumble forward with my own momentum. The sexy stranger growls low in his throat, grabbing hold of my waist and pushing me further into the privacy of the alcove. His face is hard as he moves closer into my space, crowding me and making my head swim. He smells like bonfires and spiced whiskey, and I find myself leaning into him. My brain is having trouble focusing and I can't decide if I'm scared, angry, weirdly attracted, or a combination of the three. Clearly, my book boyfriend fetish has broken my brain. What the hell was that for? You're obviously trying to kill me. What do you expect? He scowls. I'm not stalking you and I'm not trying to kill you. Don't be ridiculous, he says. His fingers twitch on my hip almost painfully before he abruptly pulls back from me, putting some distance between us. The space allows my head to clear, and I suck in a sharp breath. Holy shit. Just smelled a werewolf's neck. That's all kinds of bad. He's dangerous. Romy, get your shit together, I scream at my hormones. If you're not here to kill me, then what are you doing here? I ask with all the bravado I can manage. Still, my voice trembles slightly. A smirk slides across his gorgeous, cruel face, transforming him into the monster from last night. What's the matter, Romy? Is meeting a real live werewolf not living up to your expectations? His voice is deep and smooth like a fine whiskey. Instantly hate it. Pity. I was so hoping I would be book boyfriend material. My heart feels like it's going to explode from my chest as my brain registers what he just said. He knows my name. No, scratch that. His use of the words book boyfriend material means he knows everything about me, right down to the hashtag I created for social media. My mind races as I try to come up with a way out of this mess. Flatter him. Swear you won't say anything, my mind screams at me. He smiles at me, his teeth gleaming like he knows he's got me. And my bitch switch flips. I took a video of you last night. I blurt out. Yes, queen. Make that smug son of a bitch squirm, I encourage myself. I may not be able to beat a werewolf in a fight, but maybe I can bluff my way to safety. If anything happens to me, the video I took last night will make it into the hands of every news agency in Massachusetts. He doesn't know that I lost my phone. I just need him to believe that I have some leverage over him. He throws his head back and laughs a deep belly laugh. The sound of it is rich and sexy and something I find myself wanting to trigger again and again. It cuts off sharply, and his focus returns to me. I cross my arms over my chest, unwilling to back down. He reaches into his back pocket and my body tenses, but what he pulls out is worse than any weapon. There in his hand is my bright red phone. How is our relationship going to last if you start out by lying to me? He asks, twirling my precious phone between nimble fingers. I grab for it, but he holds it out of my reach. My heart sinks, but I jut my chin up, refusing to accept that I've been beaten. Thank God for the cloud, asshole. The video is already safe and sound. He slips my phone back into his pocket before shaking his head at me like I've somehow disappointed him. Oh, Pepper, your attempts to intimidate are almost as endearing as those freckles peppered across your cheeks. He brushes his knuckles across my face, and I shudder in pleasure. Ugh, stop calling me that. We don't have cutesy nicknames. You're a murderer, who apparently dabbles in blackmailing and stalking. He touches his hand to his chest. That hurts, Romy. I really thought we were going to give your followers something to howl about. I guess it just goes to show you can't trust every pretty face you meet in a seedy alley. He moves too quickly for my eyes to track, and suddenly my body is pinned between him and the building behind me. He leans down and my blood roars to life while my heart beats erratically. It's like you don't know me at all, Pepper, he whispers in my ear. He pulls back enough for me to see the intensity in the depths of his eyes. Do you really think I haven't already made sure that the video wasn't on your laptop? And that sticker, boys and books are better? That really hurt my feelings. His brow quirks, and the mischief in his eyes wars with the warning in his words. You've been in my apartment? I narrow my eyes, debating on a second neon. The ball's attempt. What kind of psycho are you? The kind who wants to understand who he's up against. I see. Do you stalk everyone you plan to kill? Or am I just lucky? I'm not going to hurt you, he says, though the words feel a little mocking. I glare at him. Sorry if I'm not convinced, seeing as how I watched you kill a guy in that alley over there. His expression hardens. For a split second, fury passes over his features but is quickly replaced with something more controlled. You arrived too late to see the part where he attacked me. So you're claiming self-defense? I'm claiming that you and he have nothing in common. I don't want to hurt you. It's the same thing he's already said. Only this time I believe him. Or I want to. I think I could. If he stops being so scary. Sexy. No, wait. Shit. Scary. Yeah, that's the one. He drags his hand up my side, causing an involuntary whimper to escape my lips, only stopping when his massive hand cups my jaw. I'm afraid things just aren't going to work between us, Romy. You don't trust me. I can't be with someone who's constantly questioning my motives. He sighs like this. Ridiculous conversation has weighed heavily on him. I don't think you can love me for who I am. A psycho killer? I shoot back. The smirk drops from his face, and his eyes turn cold before he continues in a much more serious tone. A werewolf, with more resources than you could wrap your pretty little human head around. His thumbs make lazy circles on my cheeks, sending tingles of pleasure through me in stark contrast to his harsh words. Every ounce of common sense in me is screaming at me to run, or hide, or at least fight back. But his touch scrambles me, and I end up muttering some weird mashup of curse words instead. He smirks like he's perfectly aware of what he's doing to me. I'm not afraid of you, I mumble. Of course not. You're drawn to me, which is refreshing, I'll admit, considering my beast usually makes humans run in the other direction. Oh, maybe it's unfortunate for you because I know exactly who you are. He continues. You're the girl who cried werewolf and vampire and dragon and fae. According to your Man Crush Monday post, you see the supernatural everywhere, so I have a feeling my secret couldn't have fallen into more incapable hands. So I'm sorry, but this is goodbye. But don't worry, Pepper. I'm not going to leave you without something to vlog about. I open my mouth to let him know exactly where he can shove his vlog ideas, but his mouth crashes onto mine with the force of an inferno. Hot, wild, and completely uncontrollable. Rage and lust sweep through my body in equal parts. My mind screams at me to kick him in the balls or bite his tongue off while my hands tangle in his soft waves, desperate to erase any space between us. My body burns as I arch into him. I hang on for dear life, giving as good as I get back. If I'm going to kiss a werewolf, I'm going to make it the best damn kiss he's ever had. He growls low in his throat, nipping at my lip before soothing it with his tongue. I gasp, and a white light flashes behind my lids, accompanied by the telltale click of a camera. He pulls back abruptly, a smug smile tipping the corner of his mouth. I blink, momentarily disoriented. My mind flounders, not quite sure why he stopped kissing me and only vaguely aware that I'm supposed to be pissed. Wait, did he just take a photo of us? A sudden wind tickles my lashes and I blink. When I look up again, I'm startled to realize that I'm alone. I rush out from underneath the awning in time to see him walking down the sidewalk, my phone held above his head. Thank God for the cloud, he says, throwing my earlier words back at me. Because this one is definitely a keeper, he shouts before disappearing around the corner. Ugh, I huff. Fucking werewolf. Chapter 3. For the next few days, even school isn't enough to distract me from my impossible discovery. To my frustration, the video I made isn't in the cloud. So there's zero proof that what I saw was real. After a thorough check of my bedroom, the only evidence I find that someone's been inside is a post-it stuck to my signed copy of Hopeless by Melissa Hogg. In handwriting I've never seen before are the words, "This seems fitting. Asshole." At least he didn't defile it by writing on the pages. Think that's what they call justifiable homicide. I glance at the book, thinking of the third in the series, which features my favorite character. Bethy would kick my stalker's ass, werewolf or not. Sure, she's got a lifetime of memories and training, but I'm not exactly helpless. I can't afford to move out of my rent-controlled apartment, not to mention Talia and Anna already think I'm having a mental breakdown and moving would only convince them more. But I'm not going to take my supernatural break-in sitting down. That means there's only one thing left to do. It's time to channel my inner Kevin McAllister and give my stalker some home alone style justice. 2 hours and a whole lot of YouTube tutorials later, I smirk at the Rube Goldberg booby trap set up in my room. After a little consideration, I decided to focus all of my security tactics there. My little supernatural stalker is in for a hell of a surprise if he ever tries to snoop in my room again. With a grin of satisfaction, I sink down onto my bed and fall back into my tried and true method of escaping the dramas of this world. Crack open my copy of Fallen Academy and lose myself in its pages. A week after the murder that no one believes, the sexy stranger is nothing but a tortured memory. My phone has been replaced, and I've decided that I hate romance writers, which is really inconvenient for me since I've spent my whole life with my nose in a book. Not to mention I am currently pursuing a degree with an end goal of working with authors. I can't help but feel a bit bitter. Werewolves are not the perfect, sexy, devoted male specimens they led me to believe. They're arrogant, slightly psychotic, mind-blowing kissers, and, let's not forget, total jerks. So much for the fantasy of romantic shifters. I growl in frustration, shaking myself from my thoughts. Around me, the smell of coffee beans seeps in right along with the low music playing. Hallowed Grounds has the best playlist, but today even that isn't enough to soothe my stress. Dude, why are you growling? Talia demands. Are you a werewolf this week? Hell no. Good. Because I can't handle any more of your crazy until I've had at least one full cup. Talia throws back a huge gulp of her coffee like it's the only thing that can help her through this conversation. I wrinkle my nose at her in disgust. I'm crazy? You drink black coffee. Everyone knows only crime lords and murderers drink black coffee. She rolls her eyes at me, but Anna jumps in to side with me. Romy's right. When you're arrested for some heinous murder that your family forces you to commit, your love of black coffee is going to be the thing that makes us say, we shoulda known. Talia throws her head back and laughs. Oh, so now I'm a mobster and a murderer. You've watched the same movies we have, I say, shrugging and taking a sip of my go-to Hallowed Grounds drink. You're from New York. You're here learning to take over the family business. I use my fingers to air quote the last 2 words and Anna snickers. You guys are ridiculous, Talia says. Are we? I ask. Anytime we ask what your family business is, you deflect. You drink black coffee like it's water, and you can hold your liquor better than anyone I know. I list the reasons on my fingers before waving them in her face. You're clearly an heiress to a mobster empire. It's okay though. We'll be the friends that help you evade the government when it all comes crashing down. That's a very compelling case you have there. Let's alert the media, Talia drawls while rolling her eyes. Anna grins. But on a more serious note, while you've been getting busy with your book boyfriends, Anna and I have been planning the Kappa's annual fundraiser. You're still gonna help, right? Because we kinda already volunteered you. My mouth falls open, totally at a loss for how smoothly she's just changed the conversation and played me at the same time. I narrow my eyes at her and then at Anna. Ugh. Seriously, you guys? How do I keep getting roped into these things? I didn't even rush. One of the girls is sick. We need an extra body, Talia says simply. And yours is so beautiful, Anna adds sweetly, but I glare at her. Nah, do not try to flatter me now. This is exactly why I didn't join a sorority. I thought you didn't join because you hate people, Talia says. Exactly, I agree. When are you going to accept that you're our unofficial sorority mascot? Talia asks. When are you going to accept that I'm not a life-size doll? I mutter in response. Of course you're not a doll, Talia says. You're way sexier than that. More like a green-eyed ginger Barbie. I'm going to pretend you didn't say that. Does that mean you'll do it? Anna asks. No. Talia shakes her head, but Anna's face falls. The moment her disappointment registers, I know I've just lost. What's the theme this time? I ask, resigned. It's a bake sale. Anna perks up, bouncing in her seat the way she always does at the mention of baking. Of course it is. And will just desserts be providing the food? I ask even, though I already know the answer. Anna's dessert truck is one of the most popular in Reverence. All of her treats have hilarious names like Holy Crepe, Well I Eclair, Bless Your Tart, or Butter My Biscuit, but that's not why her truck is so popular. Anna is a master baker. Snort. But seriously, her desserts are like an orgasm in your mouth. Like me, she already had a successful business when we met as freshmen a couple of years ago, but she's here learning to expand so she can become the next household name. Move over, Sarah Lee. I learned very quickly with Anna that her sweet naivete doesn't spill over into her business smarts. She's a baking genius. Yes, but it's more than just the food, Anna says. How much more? I ask, nervous at her hesitant tone. We're teaming up with the Deltas. Talia had this great idea to have them serve the desserts. She starts giggling uncontrollably and can't continue. I'm instantly leery, a feeling that only intensifies when Talia, not so subtly, kicks her under the table. Ow, Anna groans, rubbing at her shin. Talia turns to me with a look of innocence that makes me distrust her on principle. The Deltas are just going to join us as our manservants. Manservants? I echo. Isn't that a little bit derogatory? If they tried calling you a servant, you'd rip their dicks off. It's business, Romy. We just need their stupid muscles to bring in the ladies. The money we'll make for charity outweighs my righteous indignation. I'm not spending my day with a bunch of knuckle-dragging frat boys, I state flatly. Come on, Romy. It's our annual charity event, the biggest fundraiser of the year. You have to help, Anna says, but I cross my arms over my chest, unmoved. Besides, Talia adds, changing tactics, you have to come so we can grill the douchebag Anna is dating. What? I screech, turning to Anna. Since when are you dating someone? She blushes before mumbling. He's not a douchebag. She squares her shoulders before saying louder. He's really funny and he can be sweet as pie. I want y'all to give him a chance. I glance at Talia and she rolls her eyes. You know him. Brody, the Deltas president. My eyes widen in surprise. Brody's the type of guy whose only suggestion for fundraising last year was a bikini contest, if you know what I'm saying. Unfortunately, our sweet Anna has always had a soft spot for boys her mama wouldn't approve of, and even more unfortunate, Brody isn't the worst guy she's ever been interested in. So I smile at her. Wow. That's great. Brody is definitely the life of the party, I say in a weak attempt to placate her. Talia snorts at my lame compliment. So you see, you have to come. It's our job as Anna's roommates to threaten Brody with bodily harm if he hurts our girl, she insists. Besides, it's not like you have something more important to do than charity. I mean, as long as you're not going to unveil the existence of Bigfoot next. She laughs at her own joke before attempting to drink from her empty cup of death. Shit. I'm out. Be right back, she says before sliding out and shuffling towards the counter for a refill. Hey, you know she's just joking, right? Anna says. We're both just worried about ya. You scared us with all that werewolf talk, hun. We can't help but be protective of you even after all this time. And well, Talia, bless her heart, she doesn't do well with the gooey bits of life. Anna was right. Talia hated gooey stuff, and even so, she'd been there for me at my darkest without flinching. I sigh, rubbing at my temples to relieve the stress headache that has started to form. Neither of them believe me, but I can't really say I blame them. I've lived and breathed paranormal romance for as long as I can remember, and even I'm having a hard time wrapping my head around what I saw. If it had been only that night in the alley, I might have convinced myself I was crazy, just like Talia said. But if I close my eyes tightly enough, I can still feel the press of his lips and the feel of his rough hands against my body. Asshole. His attitude makes me want to, in equal parts, kiss him again and kill him with my bare hands. Aside from the memory of his touch, which has kept me awake late for a week. Now, I've replayed our conversation over and over again in my mind. Not only did he not deny he was a murderer, he also openly admitted to being a werewolf. It's the only proof I have that I'm not completely insane. The kiss, truth be told, probably proves the opposite. I know that you guys think I'm nuts, but that doesn't change what I saw. I tell Anna. Her lips part as if she's about to interrupt, but I continue before she can. I'm not asking you to believe me, and I'm not mad. Hell, I even understand why you guys don't believe me, but I know what I saw. If you can't trust me and believe in what I saw, then I'm just going to have to get proof. The words are out before I realize how badly I mean them. Almost instantly, determination steals my resolve. I'm going to figure out a way to prove to my friends that I'm not crazy, and taking down that smug dog will just be the icing on the cake. How are you going to prove that werewolves exist? Anna asks skeptically. Are we still talking about this? Talia asks as she sits back down with her fresh cup of demon juice. Don't you have more important things to worry about? Like your final project? Did you figure out how you're going to increase your following? I groan at the reminder. Not exactly. In order to boost my following by 15%, I'm going to have to come up with something big. That shouldn't be hard for you, Romy. Anna pats my arm. Your pictures are gorgeous. Thanks. The problem is that there are a lot of amazing bookstagrammers with equally gorgeous pictures, which means I need something that sets me apart from everyone else. What about your book boyfriend posts? Anna asks. Those always get a lot of interaction. Boy, would I love to interact with some of those hotties. Talia puts in with a wink. I shake my head. Book boyfriend posts are too overdone at this point. I need to figure out a way to make mine more interesting. The girls fall silent, all of us lost in thought. My own drift right back to the sexy murderer from last week. Shit. That's it. I know what I'm going to do. I slap my palms against the table. I'm going to prove werewolves are real. I whisper animatedly. Talia and Anna share a look, and I know that they're going to try and discourage me. I hold my hand up before they can interject. Think about it. I saw a real live werewolf. That's the stuff of every bookworm's dreams. If I can prove that werewolves are real, I can do more than ace my finals. I can secure my spot as an influencer for years. Hell, I could probably write my own book. It totally makes sense. I look between the two of them, hoping they'll see the merit in my plan. Okay, let's just play devil's advocate here and pretend like werewolves are real, Talia says, and I start to interrupt her, but she cuts me off. So, werewolves are real. How do you plan on hunting down this mysterious, murdering werewolf? Are you just going to keep swiping right on Tinder and hope he pops up? Of course not. You know nothing about him. So how do you propose to track him down? For a split second, I feel guilty for not telling them that I saw him here last week, but I couldn't handle more of their disbelief then, and I can't now. Or worse, the voice in my own head warns me of my own stupidity at trying to track down a guy who's fully capable of murder and knows where I live. I hesitate, knowing full well that voice has a damn good point. But in the end, the voice reminding me how important my project grade is wins out. As soon as I make the decision, a new detail about his follow-up visit sticks out, and my lips curve in a smug smile that would maybe even put his to shame. I jump up from the table, bumping into it and causing the mugs to rattle. Shit. Sorry. You're probably right. I'll stop with the crazy ideas. Look, I'm gonna grab one of these to go, and then I have to book it to class. I'll see you guys at home, I say before rushing away from the table. I don't bother to look back to see if they've bought my story or not because up ahead, luck is on my side today. There's no line, and my favorite barista, James, is behind the counter. I take a deep breath, trying to play it cool. Hey Romy, back so soon? Should I just start you in 4 drip? James jokes, flashing me his dimpled grin. My heart stutters. I can practically hear Talia in my ear, begging me to ask him out, but I only smile back at him. I know I have a real problem. I'm glad you're willing to sacrifice your sacred barista oath to take care of me, though, I say solemnly, and he chuckles, reaching for my mug. Actually, can I get this one to go? Sure. He winks before turning to put my empty mug in the sink. Hey James, is there any chance you could do me a favor? He looks up at me, curiosity shining in his hazel eyes. Depends. Whatcha need? He asks, leaning back against the sink before crossing his arms over his chest. Damn. He's flirting. I hitch my bag higher, self-conscious now. It's not that James isn't hot, but I haven't dated since my parents died. Every time I've tried flirting or even talking to a new guy, it's ended awkwardly. Grief is a real buzzkill. Well, I met this guy at Valkyrie last weekend. I didn't grab his name, but I think I may have left my phone with him. I groan inwardly. This whole conversation sounds like a massive walk of shame, but I can't think of a way to phrase it without sounding pathetic or insane. Anyway, I saw him in here, grabbing coffee the next day. Is there any chance you would remember the name you put on his cup if I describe him to you? Ah, we've all had those nights, am I right? He chuckles and shakes his head. Before continuing, I'm pretty good about putting names with faces. What does he look like? I blow out a breath of relief and try to describe the sexy jerk. Let's see. He's tall, over 6 feet and pretty buff. He's got dark wavy hair, a scruffy beard, and some intense blue eyes. I say pathetically, but it comes out, sounding like a question. I think back to our encounter trying to remember the slightest detail that might help. Oh, and he was wearing a white t-shirt with the word alpha across the front. Any chance that sounds familiar? I cringe at the weak description. A spark lights in his eyes, and I allow myself a moment of hope. Oh, you know. What? I think I remember who you're talking about. He had a cool name, I think. It was Crash. No, wait. Cash. That was it. He finishes, snapping his fingers at his recollection. Cash, I whisper. Suits him. The arrogant jerk. I clear my throat, blinking up at James. Any chance you have a last name to go with that first? Name? No, sorry. Just the name I wrote on his cup, he says, shrugging an apology. Oh, wait. He paid with a credit card. I mean, I'm not supposed to give that kind of information out, and I normally never would, but you practically live here. I'll pull it up for you. Just don't tell my boss and promise you're not like stalking the guy or something, he says with a laugh. A strangled chuckle bursts from my throat. No, I clear my throat. I am definitely not stalking him. Less than a minute later, James returns with a conspiratorial smile. He leans in close and whispers, Montgomery. Thanks, James. Don't mention it. His smile falls away. But seriously, don't. Could get fired. I nod as he goes back to taking orders. Cash Montgomery. Rolling the name around in my head, I feel a brief moment of smugness. What kind of idiot uses a credit card to pay for something when you're stalking and threatening someone? It's like he's never watched Murder TV, which is odd considering it would have come in handy for covering up his own crime. Not that he needed help since apparently no one ever found the body or reported it. Unfortunately for him, Murder TV comes in second only to my love of books. May not be as strong or fast as a werewolf, but I have skills that Cash didn't take into consideration. I figure out who the murderer is before everyone else when we watch crime shows. I'm crafty as fuck. But perhaps the biggest thing I've got going for me, I live and breathe social media. Now that I have his full name, there's no hiding. It's time to make the hunter my prey. Chapter 4. That's the last one. Thank y'all for stopping by. Enjoy your just desserts, Anna says to the last couple before sliding the window closed and turning back to face me. It's been busier than a rooster in a hen house this morning. Thank you for helping me. I know you hate waking up this early. I wave her concerns away. You don't have to thank me. What are friends for if not to wake them up at ungodly hours and force them to bake? I joke. The truth is that helping Anna this morning means she'll work a double today, so she'll be too tired to notice me sneak out on my mission later tonight. Oh, hush, Anna says, throwing a leftover donut at me. I laugh and catch it before taking a bite. Oh my god. So worth it, I say around a mouthful of deliciousness. Anna laughs, then picks up a towel and sanitizer bucket before beginning the tough job of cleaning up before we leave. I know you were up late reading last night, so I appreciate you coming to help me all the same, she says over her shoulder. I pop the last bite of donut into my mouth. It's lemon blueberry flavor, mingling with guilt in the pit of my stomach. A small part of me feels bad for letting my roommates think I was reading, but I know they wouldn't approve of what I was really doing. Besides, internet stalking Cash Montgomery was just as entertaining as my last urban fantasy read, and even more illuminating. Sure. It's no problem. Seriously. I knew today was my day. We should be feeling bad for poor Talia. Her video conferences with her parents and their lawyer sounds like hell, and will effectively keep her busy until long after I've slipped out tonight. Anna scrunches up her nose, handing me a to-go container so I can pack up the tarts she made for Talia. We officially sold out of them 2 hours ago, but Anna had kept a couple back for her before they were gone. Talia would raise hell if we came home without her favorite raspberry tart. Sometimes I wonder if she'll ever tell her parents the truth. Anna sighs. Would you tell your parents? I ask. She sighs again before shaking her head. No, I suppose I wouldn't. I'd feel too terrible about upsetting them. It just makes me so sad for her. Anyone can look at her and see this isn't where her heart is. It's different for me. Love Bakin. She waves around her truck before continuing. My parents don't force me to do this. I love it. I just want both of y'all to be as happy as I am. I take the empty dishes from the counter to the sink and start the water, giving myself a little time to think of a response. You know how Talia is. She may not admit that she doesn't want to run the family business, but she's not miserable. She's using her time to do everything she wants to do before settling down into that life. She's tough. She'll be fine. Anna crosses to my side of the truck and begins to sanitize all of the food storage before she continues. What about you, Rom? I'm not talking about your book stuff. I know how much you love that, and because of how much you love it, I know you'll figure out your final project. She sighs, dropping her towel and giving me her full attention. I know you haven't given up on trying to prove werewolves are real. I don't know what you're talking about. I lie standing in front of the sink, up to my elbows in sudsy water. Anna shakes her head and snorts. Crossing her arms over her chest, she leans back against the counter. Sure you don't, she says, rolling her eyes. I don't know why y'all act like I don't know what you're up to. Besides, you left your list entitled Operation Catch That Smug Werewolf Jerk on the coffee table last night. I do my best to ignore her, scrubbing furiously at the strawberry seeds stuck to the pot. The snap of a towel sounds a second before the sting begins on my right butt cheek. Ow. Well? She asks with an arched brow. Well, I wish that you had told me that before I lied my ass off, I say, smiling sweetly before blowing bubbles directly into her stunned face. She squeaks, diving for the soapy water before exacting her revenge. Oh gross. There's soap in my bra, I mutter disgustedly. Better than a raspberry, Anna says, picking the offending fruit from her modest cleavage before tossing it at me. I laugh and push up from the floor, surveying the inside of her truck to see how much damage our impromptu fight had caused. Thankfully, it looks like a quick mop and wipe down is all that's needed. Our weapon of choice, besides the stray berry, had been soapy water. I reach a hand down to pull Anna up from the floor, laughing at the way her mint green dress is plastered to her. She grimaces, but it quickly dissolves into a laugh as she pulls the tacky fabric from her chest. I think we needed that, she says with a grin before turning sober again. Listen, I know that little Oelmi isn't gonna change your mind. You're stubborn as a mule. So just promise me you'll be careful, all right? I smile at her, grateful for her easy understanding. I will. Now let's get this place cleaned up so we can go change. You look like you just won a wet t-shirt contest. She laughs, shoving me away before handing me a mop. Here you go. Your mess too. Bless. I wait, hunched over in my car, until the sun has set behind the rooftops, casting the street view into shadows. My black pants and matching black jacket help me blend in as I get out and make my way down the block to the address listed on the invite I dug up last night. Cash Montgomery is a ghost, according to the internet. His friends, however, are not. Whoever Lynch Foster is, he's very organized when it comes to party planning. Tracking down Cash's name and attaching it to Lynch's was an easy Google search. The rest I dug up from Facebook and Lynch's event planning invite. I stay low as I creep closer, darting from one parallel parked car to another for cover. On the other side of the street, I scan the warehouse building that marks the address I dug up. What the hell are they doing partying here? Before I can second guess, a metal door opens and music spills out from inside. I angle my body to get a better look and catch a quick glimpse of people mingling with drinks in hand before the men entering block my view. A second later, one of them reaches back and pulls the heavy door shut behind him. I double back to the corner and tuck my body against the wall out of sight. Then I reach for my newly replaced phone and hit the record button on the live stream I queued up in the car. Hey peeps, this is Romy Reads Romance, and I'm ready to make the big announcement I promised you. As I mentioned in my earlier post, I've stumbled onto something major, and I can't possibly keep all this excitement to myself. The truth is, I've made the discovery of the century. Are you ready for this? Are you sitting down? Werewolves exist. That's right. I've seen the proof with my own eyes, and now I'm going to get that same proof. For all of you, my loyal followers, you'll be the first to see in living color that werewolves are real. I flash the camera at the building across the street, then aim it back at me. Again. Inside that building over there is our guy. In just a minute I'll go inside and bring back the proof you're all waiting for. I take a deep breath. Then flash a smile. Wish me luck. #book boyfriends are real. I hit the button to end the live stream, then make sure it gets uploaded to my feed. Satisfied, I tuck the phone into my jeans before darting across the street to the alley where I scoped out a side entrance last night. The sign mounted beside the door reads staff only, and I've done enough digging to know this particular party is private. No outside staff, which hopefully means that nobody will be in the server's hallways to spot me sneaking in. It's also the perfect place to hide while I get the footage I need to fulfill my promise to the masses. With a deep breath, I square my shoulders and slip inside. The hallway is dark but with enough light pouring in from the larger rooms up ahead to offer a clear path down the corridor. I pass a couple of storage closets and a restroom before the hall opens into a large kitchen. It's empty as I suspected, and I duck low, hurrying past a cutout window that looks out into a larger room filled with people. A giant banner is draped across the bar. The words actually Alpha written across the front of it in surprisingly beautiful calligraphy. I have no idea what that means, so I just shuffle and shimmy over to the corner where I can stand out of sight with a view angled toward the buffet line. I watch with shallow breaths as, one by one, the guests take a plate and then fill it with bacon-wrapped chicken and jalapeno poppers. I count nearly 24 attendees, all men, before a familiar face finally steps into view. His honey-colored beard is too massive to miss, and when his forest green eyes sweep past my hiding place, I'm certain it's definitely him. Lynch, the guy throwing the party. I recognize him from his Facebook profile picture. I reach for my phone, keeping my movements small and slow. The door to the kitchen opens and a guy walks in. I freeze, my hand halfway to my back pocket, and look up into the face of a stranger. His eyes widen when he sees me, but then he immediately relaxes and his mouth stretches into a wide smile. Well, what have we got here? Lynch, you dog, I thought Cash said no entertainment. I blink, my mind racing for some excuse that'll get me out of sight before Cash discovers me, or before I'm used for kibble. Yeah, I say. Entertainment. That's me. The guy in front of me backs up to check me out. That's your costume? Sexy. Cat burglar. He rubs his jaw, and his dark eyes gleam with interest. I'm not big on cats, but for you, honey, I can make an exception. My costume? Hold up. He doesn't think. Shit. Alarm bells go off, and I dart a glance toward the exit, which is now being blocked by the cat hater. Actually, I left my costume in the car. I say as smoothly as my trembling voice will allow. I can grab it and be right back. Nah. He shakes his head, his smile stretching wider as he warms to the idea of me in tactical black. This works just fine. Besides, you won't be wearing it much longer anyway, am I right? Before I can answer or pee from terror, he grabs me and leads me out the kitchen door and into the main party room. For a moment no one notices, and I pray it'll be that easy to get across the crowded space and out the front door. But then I spot Lynch and Cash standing together near the bar where we're headed and realize this is about to go from bad to worse. Lynch, my escort calls out. His grip on my arm is firm, but I don't try to pull away. Not yet. You didn't tell me you hired entertainment. He hoots, and some of the other guests cheer and turn to watch us. Great. Lynch looks up first, and his brows knit in confusion at the sight of me approaching. A second later, Cash breaks off from his conversation with a man on his right and he freezes. Busted. I didn't hire. Lynch begins, but Cash is already moving. With lightning speed, he has extracted my arm from his cadaverse friend and is already dragging me back to the kitchen. Whoa, where are you going? The guy calls out at our backs. Alpha or not, sharing is caring. Shut up, Doyle, someone mutters. Cash ignores them all and shoves us into the kitchen hard enough that I brace myself for the door to come crashing down around us. It manages to remain on its hinges, and Cash doesn't stop until we're alone in the hallway I snuck in through. His jaw clenches and unclenches as he stares at me with hard eyes, but something akin to worry floats in their brilliant depths. It's clear that he's trying to gain control of himself before reading me the riot act. The logical part of my brain tells me not to say a word because an angry werewolf is a dangerous werewolf, but instead I blurt out the questions that have been bothering me since I found the online event invitation. What the hell is an actually alpha party, and why the fuck do you have a Giant wolf piñata hanging from the ceiling? I mean, you guys are aware that. You're full-grown men, aren't you? I demand. I have a better question. Why are you stalking me? He fires back. I ignore his questions the same way he ignored mine. No offense, but it's a real sausage fest out there. I don't blame the pervy one for thinking I was the stripper. Does no one in your friend group know how to score a date? His shocked gaze snaps to me, and he lets out an involuntary laugh before shaking his head at me. How the hell did you find me, Pepper? Trust me, it wasn't easy, I say. What kind of person isn't on any social media sites? Maybe the kind of person who doesn't want to be found. I put my hand on my hip. Well, you're not the only one capable of a little investigating. You're clearly not that great at stalking yourself, or you would have realized that social media is my life. Literally. It's my job. My skills with a phone are legendary. Finding an antisocial werewolf wasn't too terribly difficult. Unbelievable. His eyes narrow, and he gestures to the crowd. Do you even realize what kind of danger you put yourself in just by showing up here tonight? And looking like that? Like what? I follow his gaze down to my black-on-black ensemble. When I look up again, his gaze lingers on my very pronounced curves. Attraction curls in my belly. Is the werewolf killer checking me out? Playing it cool, I shrug. I mean, you already know I've witnessed you committing murder. And since you've been inside my house and cornered me outside my favorite coffee shop, all without harming me, I figure you can't really be that much of a danger to me. If you wanted to hurt me, you would have done it already. So that being said, I flash a bright smile that I hope inspires cooperation. Want to take a selfie with me? Why in the hell would I do that? I bite my lip, debating whether or not to out my mission. In the end, I go for because I promised my social media following that I'd post-proof you exist. His eyes widen, and his cheeks flush with a temper I can feel rolling off him. Now, for a moment I wonder if I've gone too far. Unfucking believable. He mutters under his breath before pinning me with a glare. It's like you have no sense of self-preservation at all. You just willingly walked into the middle of a pack of werewolves. Our number one rule is to keep the secret. What do you think they would do to a human who's trying to do the exact opposite? Obviously, I wasn't planning on being caught, I mutter. He smirks and my belly tightens. It doesn't matter that his smirk is slightly scary. Not when he looks so damn sexy doing it. My gaze snags on his mouth, and when I finally look up at his eyes again, they're dark and fastened intently on mine. He closes the distance between us, pinning me against the wall. His hands box me in, and he takes a deep breath. My heart races at our sudden closeness. He groans, setting his forehead against my own, and my heart pounds so hard I worry it will give out. Not everyone is as affected by your charm and delectable ass as I am, Pepper. It would do you well to remember that, he whispers roughly. Despite the threat in his words, his eyes are fixed on my lips. I can practically feel him fighting the urge to kiss me. I tilt my head up, giving him access to my mouth, and his gaze burns into my own. The sound of a door slamming open has me jumping, and Cash turns, hiding me behind him as a figure emerges from the restroom at the far end of the hallway. Cash, I know it's your celebration and all, but I thought we'd share the party favors. I peek around Cash's shoulder to see Doyle and a couple of the other guys looking past him to me. Cash's expression darkens, and he lets out a growl before grabbing my arm and dragging me out the side door. What are you doing? I hiss, wrenching my arm out of his grip the moment we're outside. You can't be here, he says. I exhale, trying to calm my racing heart, because deep down I'm a little relieved Cash decided to let me off the hook for whatever performance those guys wanted from me. You don't get to tell me where I can go. Maybe you didn't hear me. I'm telling you where you can't go. I growl at him in frustration, and he laughs. That's cute. Now get your fine ass back in your car and get out of here, he says between clenched teeth. I cross my arms. Make me. With pleasure, he growls, stalking towards me. I squeak as he picks me up and throws me over his shoulder before turning to head in the direction of my car. Let me down, you prehistoric mutt. I seethe as I flail wildly. His hand slaps my ass with a resounding crack, and I still the shock vibrating to my core. Behave, he grunts, making quick work of the walk to my car before depositing me unceremoniously on the hood. I push against him and scramble off, stomping to the door and ripping it open. I'm not even going to ask how he knew which car was mine. I need to get the hell out of here. Not because he told me to, but because it's clear I'm going to have to come up with another plan. I slide into the front seat and reach out to slam my door. Cash stops me, gripping the frame and leaning down into the car. Don't make me regret letting you go again, Pepper. My world isn't for you, he says before shutting the door and walking back to the bar. I watch him go, openly admiring the view until the door closes behind him. When he's gone, I pull my phone from my pocket and open my Instagram account. I cringe as I read some of the comments on the video I posted earlier. They range from people asking if this is a joke to people straight up calling me insane. I note my follower count and realize it's dropped in the past hour. Not a lot, but it's definitely the opposite of what I was hoping to accomplish with my big announcement. And now I have nothing to show for it. No proof. Which makes me look like a liar. I growl in frustration, throwing my phone back onto the seat. This is all Cash's fault. If he thinks I'm going to stop just because he told me to, he's about to have a rude awakening. I've got followers to do right by. And no flea-bitten mongrel is going to stop me. Not even one as hot as Cash. Fucking monster.